Welcome back to Let's Talk Harlingen. I'm Mayor Norma Sepulveda.
And I'm Cassandra Concilio.
We're here to keep you updated, informed, and connected to your city.
Let's get into it.
And in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Harlingen. Welcome to episode 3 of Let's Talk Harlingen. Hey, Mayor, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
Good. I am happy. It's summertime. It is definitely summer outside. It's 100 and something degrees, so we're feeling the heat, but I'm glad.
Yes. I know yesterday we were out looking at the pickleball courts at the community center, and I think we found shade, and it was a dream come true because I was sweating bullets. It was super, super hot.
Yes, I love the new pickleball courts to be outside at the community center, and it's really close to my house, so I'm going to be like, oh, I'll be right back, and then I'm going to go play pickleball. That's my new plan.
Nice. I love it. I'm excited too. I think it's one of those sports, that it doesn't matter your age or your level of fitness. Like, you can be killed by a 80-year-old man with a awesome serve. And I don't say that from experience or anything,
And they will tell you. Like, Delma and I went to play, and they're very helpful also, because I'm like, hey, it's like my 4th time, like I'm not so good. And so they'll kind of be like, okay, we'll take it easy on you. And they notice that Delma has played more, and they're like harder on her. And I'm like, hey, okay, let's take it easy, guys. Like, not so difficult, but it's fun. It's fun. You don't have to have experience. They have classes also, which is like awesome.
That's cool. That's great. And I'm glad that, and we'll talk about it later if we have time, but we're going to be doing the coffee with the mayor.
Yes.
And so people get to get a little sneak peek of what's going on over there. So
Yeah.
super excited.
Everybody who's listening now should go to Coffee with the Mayor on June 25th at 8 o'clock in the morning at the community center.
Yes.
And we're going to be showcasing all the classes that they offer there and the new pickleball courts that are going to be opening soon. And it's just a really great place that you can exercise for free.
Definitely. And I know a lot of people aren't aware. I know you and Delma took a yoga class over at the museum. I did that one too. It's really very zen, right?
Yes.
Kind of gets you grounded and ready for the day. And then we've got all those other different type of classes over at the community center.
Pilates, toning, all of those classes are literally awesome, and they're free.
Yeah.
You do not have to register. You don't have to pay a monthly fee. You don't have to pay an upfront like $600 in case you don't show up. It's free. It's for the community. And if the community participates, then we can have more of those classes.
Absolutely. Exciting stuff.
We're going to see everybody out there at Tu Salud Si Cuenta classes, at the community center, at the museum, all those kind of cool places. And honestly, I'm surprised you're here and early because I know you had a late night last night.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think our commission meeting, and this is not the latest that we've gotten out. I think I got home about 10:30, but we have gone like during budget time and other just packed commission meetings. We've gotten out past midnight.
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't too bad last night. But it was, what was nice was that Daniel brought all of us he had work to do out of town. And so he brought a cake from, I don't know if you've been to House of Pies in Houston.
No.
So he was out there for work, and he brought one for everyone. So everybody got a little sweet treat at the end, so it wasn't too bad.
A prize. That's what I tell my kids. We're gonna get a prize.
Yes. So you need to stay awake and
eat your whole pie.
Yes.
And then go to Tu Salud Si Cuenta classes, right?
Right. And unfortunately, since we're here filming, I wasn't able to get to the morning class this morning, and so I'm feeling that extra sweetness from last night.
Well, thank you for being here, for doing all that last night. And this is a little bit of a different podcast than our other one where we recap State of the City. This is going to be a recap of the commission meeting.
Yes.
And so you guys meet twice a month, and we're going to be talking about what you guys voted on and what was discussed in the meeting before. And sometimes they get wordy and sometimes they get long. And sometimes there's rules that maybe the community doesn't understand. And so we're going to break it down for everybody to understand like what's going on. When I first started, like we would go to the meetings and be like, what is happening? What are they voting on? Why are they talking so much about this one or not that one? And now I'm very accustomed to Robert's Rules of Order because I also run the Visit Harlingen meetings. But there are rules and there is decorum. And the person running the meeting, the mayor, has to make sure that those rules are enforced, because that way the meeting runs smoothly and quickly and efficiently. Because this ultimately is a meeting that the city commissioners and mayor are hosting that's open to the public. Like, the public cannot vote, but they're more than welcome to listen and to participate in other ways, right?
I love that you said that because I know I posted something on my social media. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and letting people know. And it's a picture of me and you, and about this podcast, and inviting everybody to listen to this podcast, because sometimes you don't have time to sit in on a 4-hour meeting, or on YouTube for 4 hours. And so inviting people to kind of just tune in, so that way we can give them the highlights on this show. But I know and I didn't have a chance to respond, but a comment was something to the effect of, this way of communicating with the community. It said, it was like, it's outdated and it isn't convenient. We can't always make it to the meeting. We need another place to be able to really communicate. And so, just like you mentioned, the commission meetings are really about business, city business, and it's designed that way. And then not only do we, like you mentioned, we're doing this to be efficient. It's really the law, right? The law,
Yeah.
it's required for
Yes.
us to hold meetings, and they are all about what's on the agenda and doing the business of the city, but we have to do it openly and in front of the public. And so that's the purpose. And so there is, everybody's welcome, but it's definitely not a town hall. It isn't coffee with the mayor. And we have so many different opportunities to really get that feedback from the community. But I think it sometimes gets lost. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, the meeting is not necessarily a time where people can bring conversation up to either, like, even staff, city management, to the mayor, to the commissioners. The meeting is already set by the agenda. The
Right.
agenda is something that's ready 72 hours beforehand. It is set, it's posted online, it's even at City Hall in this glass case, if you want to go by City Hall. And those agendas are set 72 hours before. It cannot be changed. You can't talk about a new subject all of a sudden. And it's really not a place for conversation. It's more of a place of, this was already brought to our attention. It's probably already been to another board that has comments on it. So we've already been discussing it. This is just agreeing, voting, and making action on some things. And I really want to go through kind of section by section so we can dissect it, discuss, and see what's going on. And I do think that the layout has changed. So I'm going to show everybody. I think Brandon will set up a picture of it. This is what the agenda looks like. Sometimes they're really thick, sometimes they're not. Like you said, sometimes you meet for 2 hours, sometimes for 4 hours.
Right.
It just depends if we have a lively conversation or not. But again, 72 hours beforehand, the city secretary signs this. It is like a very serious document, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. And let's do that if you would. Brandon, can you, for our viewers, can you go ahead
Throw it up.
and yeah, put up the copy of the agenda, just the front page, obviously, so that way people know. And for our listeners that are not watching, maybe they can take a look at on City of Harlingen on the website. You can see all of the past agendas also.
So harlingentx.gov is where you can also download the agendas.
Awesome. So now, yeah, you were going to go through, I think, each
We're going to
of the little
go
topics.
segment by segment. And to me, the biggest change is the conflict of interest passage. So tell me a little bit about how you came about including this in the agendas.
Yeah, here in the Rio Grande Valley, one of the good things is that we really, all of the mayors from the region get together. We have this thing called South Texas Alliance of Cities. And so we get together quarterly and we talk about what's working in our cities and really just kind of feed off of one another. And in a conversation that I was having with Mayor Ramiro, who's also in his first term, he was telling me about conflict of interest and how that he added that to his agenda, because in trying to be more community centered, ensuring that we're being transparent. Sometimes on the agenda there may be agenda items where they may there might be this perception that there'll be any kind of interest of someone that's on the dais. And so, for example, maybe Cassandra owns a property on Tyler Street, and you're one of the commissioners, and the community may not want you to vote on a project that is nearby because it may benefit you or hurt you, and you may have some kind of self interest in voting for that. And it could potentially be that it's not, right?
Yeah.
But just to err on the side of caution, I thought that this would be great for us to do that, so that way the community knows that yes, we're aware, and the easy thing to do is just abstain, right?
So they would just say, you know what, I'm not going to talk about letter K today because it might interest me, it might not, but right now I'm just going to not talk about it. So they say upfront right away.
Yeah, and it's really quick. We do it in the beginning. The attorney reads it off. Each of the commissioners have an opportunity to say, I abstain from, just like you said, whatever agenda item. And sometimes it's not like financial interest. We have a lot of street closures, and I know the school district is constantly shutting things down because they have parades and they got all this stuff going on. And so you'll see Commissioner Bettis, who happens to be a teacher, say, I'm going to abstain. Really, there's no benefit for closing downtown or any street for him.
He's not going to make money.
To be, making sure that we're following the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's important to know what's beneficial and to be transparent always.
Right. Absolutely.
And also you do mayor's announcements that includes the Harlingen Animal Shelter, that includes a business of the month and special recognition. So I want to hear all about those.
Yes, definitely. So we put all these at the top of the hour, right? Because we want to get everybody in and out. Some of the ones that are there for recognitions, we don't want them to have to wait the whole 4 hours to be recognized. But we had a really, really awesome time. I did start with the mayor's announcements. Some of the things that may not be on the agenda are just little a highlight of things that are happening. So we talked about the library and how they had their ribbon cutting of the children's corner. And so that was super exciting. I know a lot of people were there earlier in the week, but one of the things that we do every single commission meeting is our pet of the week.
Oh, I love that. The pet of the week is at the Harlingen Animal Shelter. And right now you can literally go adopt him. He's 6 months old. He's a lab mix. He's super cute, super energetic. I definitely cannot, but I know that there's somebody out there watching.
Yes.
Go check out the Harlingen Animal Shelter. They have pets that are available there. And periodically they have their clinics. So you should follow them on Facebook so you could get all that information. We are definitely not the Harlingen Animal Shelter. We just tell you about the Harlingen Animal Shelter. But yeah, check them out. I know that it is a place where you can get low cost clinic help there, vaccines, and you can adopt pets. So it's a cute place. And then a very special business of the month was...
Yes. And so drum roll, please.
Everybody who saw it last night already knows.
Yes. This is the recap though. So some people, may not have carved out 4 hours and didn't have an opportunity. But yes, we recognize Cheyenne's very deserving. So it is the restaurant located downtown, and we had a really cool video, and she was there to accept the award. It was nice. If we can we put up the photo from last night, the picture?
Yes, please, Brandon. I also want to say that Cheyenne is the daughter. Okay, so Cheyenne was 15 years old when she said, Mom, I want to have a restaurant or a little cafe. And the mom made it happen for her. And I think it's just wonderful that they've even outgrown a space already. Yes. They're already moved to a bigger restaurant where there more people in the community, and it's just a really inspiring story for people, because she was 15 years old when she said, Mom, I want to do this, and the mom said, yes, girl, let's do it. And I go on Sundays, and it's really cute because they have a small Pac-Man machine, and my kids love it. They're obsessed with it. And she also brings out sprinkles for them to choose.
Aww.
And sometimes the other day they chose a fall sprinkle when it was summer, and I was like, I can't believe it, but I had to accept it. I had to say, it's fine, we'll do whatever. But she's very welcoming to the customers, and they make delicious coffees, and they do catering. So if you're having a little party, you can have a catering from Cheyenne's, or you can stop in for lunch, and it's literally 2 stores down from us, so we can walk over anytime. So thanks, Cheyenne's, for being downtown.
Definitely delicious home cooked meals. I know they've got their staples, that chicken fried chicken that they
Yes.
have all the time. I know my husband likes to go, even though he's super, fit and healthy. I know he gets his cheat meals there. I know it. I know it. He doesn't invite me though. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he doesn't want me to have a cheat meal. I don't know. But yeah, it was such a great opportunity to highlight their businesses. They were there at State of the City too. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember. So yeah, great, great, great food.
And then you recognize Mariana Donnelly for being a local celebrity. What does she tell us about her?
Oh my goodness. So this little girl is absolutely adorable, precious, 12 years old. So I have a 12-year-old too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can relate. She was there with her mom, beaming with pride, and her little sister. And she's a celebrity. She's an actress, a singer. She's got, I think, a makeup line. Is
Oh,
that what she
wow.
said? Something like a vegan. She's just doing so much. And so it was so nice to have our own local Harlingen celebrity. She said she moved here 2 years ago and now loves Harlingen, super inviting community, and has made this her home. So we're so happy to recognize her.
Hopefully, we'll see Mariana on the big screen. And then we'll be showcasing Mariana Donnelly from
Harlingen,
Harlingen, Texas.
Texas. I love it.
That's gonna be our new like tagline for under our promo items home. It's always nice to have children be inspiring and to want to be just the best that they can be, right? Showcase her talents, and it's just wonderful.
Absolutely.
Um, and I mean, that was pretty much all of your proclamations and awards from that evening. And so you sped through those. And then
Yes.
you got to the good stuff, citizen communication. So, citizen communication, you have to sign up for citizen communication. It's important to know that you can't just show up and expect to talk for 30 minutes or, on whatever topic. It is a 3-minute time limit. And you sign up beforehand or online and you put your information in, and then you're called forward and you're able to speak. And this is not a back and forth conversation. So anything that people say, you just have to say, thank you very much. Next. I'm sure that it's difficult because in normal conversation, you want to respond, right?
Great.
Like you want to be like, but, but then again, the Robert's Rules of Order state that this is not a conversation time. And the good thing is that there's staff members in the audience, the city managers are there, the assistant city managers are there, and they basically have all the answers to everything in the city. So you can ask them. Everybody has their card. Everybody says, hey, email me, call me, stop by our office to talk, because we welcome conversation. It's just that at that time, it's not allowed. And that's something that not everybody knows, right? Because they're like,
Yeah.
just respond to her. Just
Great.
tell her yes or no. Like, yes, the sky is blue, or, whatever they say. But the thing is, you can't. And I'm sure like your instinct is to respond. And so you have to like hold it in, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you brought up that it's 3 minutes. It hasn't always been that way. I know when I first came on board, it was 2 minutes, and I wanted to give people more time because 2 minutes will go by really, really fast, and then everybody is,
Yeah.
the buzzer goes off, and I know they're in mid sentence, and so the commission unanimously adopted that we change it to 3 minutes. So now we provide 3 minutes. Years past here at the city of Harlingen, the citizen communication was at the end of the agenda. So can you imagine waiting 4 hours to be able to
Yeah.
speak? So now we put it at the top of the agenda, and that is statewide. I think around the state there were issues, and now it's regulated so that it's at the top of the agenda all throughout the state of Texas. It is after the proclamations and announcements and things like that because we want to be respectful, obviously, of people's time. And the room is packed with people. When we are recognizing, say, like the swim team or the soccer team, it is packed in there. And so we do that, and then we get into the citizen communication. But you're right. I know a lot of times there is, people will see little snippets of citizen communication and they think, oh my God, I can't believe this or I can't believe that. But the reality is, citizen communication is just an opportunity. You can go up there and pretty much say, whatever it is that you like to say. You can say, it is raining outside. It could be 110 degrees, and I cannot say, Cassandra, what are you talking about? Are you
Yeah.
crazy? It is raining outside. It's 110 degrees, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you can't, even those types of conversations, they're just not allowed. And so it is just, opinion, but it's a good opportunity. The best way, I think, that for citizen communication, I envision it as an opportunity to take a look at the agenda. And if there's something that sparks your interest and you want to give some commentary, that's a good time to be able to do that and to sign up and say, hey, these are my thoughts. I was reading through the agenda. Item, C, I think y'all should do this, right? Or that. I think that's what it's really, I think, best utilized for. But again, it's your 3 minutes.
Yes. Well, thank you to all those who sign up for citizen communication. You can continue to do so. We invite everybody to do that as well. So just sign up, harlingentx.gov. I feel like I'm going to say that like headline a lot. harlingentx.gov. It's our new at the end of our email addresses, and sometimes I'll say the old one. I'm like, oh wait, no, we're at
Oh,
harlingentx.gov. That is,
yes.
because I was used to the old one.
.us or
Yeah,
whatever.
myharlingen.us. That was
Yes.
like
Seems
our
like a fake email, right? Like myharlingen.us. Like, there's all these like spam emails now that
Mhm.
try to like say,
Fishing.
yes, they're like, oh, it's Kendra Scott with three T's or
Yes.
something, right? And they try to get you to click on it. I felt like that was hard. It's because most governments are .gov.
Yes.
So I think it was good that the city went
Yeah.
towards that.
Do not click that. Do not click that. Make sure to look at the emails. Then you get to the citizen communication part. And this is where the public is invited to sign up beforehand. They can get online, sign up. They can get to City Hall early, sign up. And that is when they get to speak for 3 minutes about anything they want, really. Or do they have to talk about something on the agenda, or can they say whatever they want?
So ideally, you should pick an item that's on the agenda. It even says that, I think, on the agenda. And it gives you an opportunity if you want to speak, at that item or during citizen communication. So it's really designed for that. But we don't limit it. Other cities do, and you
Oh.
can. You can say you can only specifically talk about what's on the agenda. But we want to be a little flexible and allow people an opportunity to, share anything they'd like. They
Yeah.
might, want to. Might have really good ideas about what we should do. But as you mentioned, it's 3 minutes. It used to be 2 minutes. So this commission, once I came on board, we moved it from 2 minutes to 3 minutes to give people additional time to speak.
Awesome. Well, something that it says here, it says, please note that the city commission members may not respond to comments or deliberate on topics addressed. That I would think would be so difficult for me not to just respond. Like, it's like human instinct to be like, wait, no, this, that. Like, you have to literally control yourself right after somebody says something.
Right. Yes, definitely. A lot of people know what the rules are. And so some of the people that come to the commission meeting, they know. They come every single commission meeting. There's even people that used to be on the commission that come to the commission meetings and speak. And so they'll know the rules. But the average person that is probably watching this podcast or listening to this podcast don't know that. And it's super important to know, because it's not that the commission is being dismissive or disrespectful or any of those things. It's just the rules don't allow you to respond because it's not listed on the agenda. You have to have notice to the community to be able to speak on an item. So it's different if I say, like there's a item, we're not going to get to it, but there's an item about health insurance that's on the agenda. So if somebody came up and said, I was reading through the agenda and I see item X or what have you on the agenda talking about health insurance. I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. I think it's amazing. I think y'all should accept that. And then we could respond because it's actually on the agenda. So if it's on the agenda, you can talk about it because it's given notice to the community. And nobody can say, hey, you know what, Norma, you were talking about insurance. Had I known about that, then I would have gone. Well, it was on the agenda. But if I go up there and I say, you know what, I am so upset because it is 110 degrees outside, and I think that the city of Harlingen should have, make it 80 degrees, and you've got that one, and I want you to fix the temperature. It's so hot. I can't say, come on, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not on the agenda.
Wow. Okay. Well, the citizen communication portion closes up Then we
Yes.
go into the consent agenda. The consent agenda is usually items that everybody agrees on, right? So there's a
Right.
lot of street closures, second readings, items of that nature. And one in particular that I wanted to discuss was an FAA grant that Valley International Airport got. And this grant was for $2,250,000. So for the air traffic control. Wow, congratulations, VIA.
Yes, it's super exciting. So, yeah, the consent agenda is something that's routine business, and we don't want to go through every item
Yeah.
because they're all going to generally be accepted. Second reading, I think you kind of just glazed right over that because you are a superstar and you work for the city and you
Oh.
know. But for those that don't know,
Yes.
and those are watching or those are listening, every ordinance that we pass needs a second reading. So, all the ordinances that pass during first reading, and if they're unanimous, then we slap them on to the consent agenda so we can get through the agenda a little faster and not rehash everything that we've already discussed. But there are nuggets of information in there, like you mentioned the FAA grants. There's two, one for the air traffic control tower that is going to be absolutely amazing. They're constructing it
Yes.
now. And so that is just a portion. We've been getting millions and millions and millions of dollars from the FAA, from our runway extension to the air traffic control tower. And they're also got another, I think you've got the agenda in front of you. There's another grant. I think it's 1.2.
Yeah, so $1,289,000 for the International Airport's Master Plan update.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money that we're getting through grants, free money. Like you said, we will
Absolutely.
accept free money. I guess everybody.
Yes,
I'm not sure if anybody
especially.
would be like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say no to that one. I'm cool,
Right.
thanks.
I think that would cause concern through the community if any of the commissioners were like, "Nah, we
Nah,
don't need it." But yeah, no, but
we
it's good
Gucci.
to look at the agenda and see all the great thing that's happening.
Yes. There's a lot of street closures. So if your church is having like a little block party or you want to do something, it would go through here. And the police obviously they check it first, right? Is it safe? Is it okay? Is it cool? And then they pass it on to you guys, and then it's accepted, right?
Right.
So nothing really goes to the commission without being discussed. So it either goes to another board or the city management or it between the commissioners. It doesn't really just pop in there unsolicited at any chance.
Right.
Yeah, so remember everything has already been discussed and not accepted, but pretty much we're like it's been in the works, right? This
Right.
grant didn't pop out. They had to work for it. We had to apply. We have to administer it. I'm sorry, not admission it, administer it. So yes, it's been discussed. We knew it
Right.
was coming, and now we want the public to know, and we have to publicly accept it.
So we just want to clarify, just 'cause it's super important. When you say that it's been discussed, lots of that's on the agenda has gone through city staff, which
Yeah.
is the staff that actually does all of the
Mm-hmm.
work. And then there's all these boards like the Planning and Zoning
Yeah.
Board. There's a Parks Advisory Board, and we invited our listener, I think it was Isabella,
Yeah.
and letting her know about all the different boards that they can serve on. But what's important for the community to understand is that this is the first time that the commission
As a whole.
as a whole is discussing it, because the same rules that apply for citizen communication apply on communication between commissioners. So if you have a full quorum, when you have a quorum of the commission, which is the majority of the commission, you cannot discuss items that are on the agenda. And that's the purpose of having these meetings in the public, is so that the public understands and the public sees how we govern. And we do this as a quorum, with a minimum of a quorum, because that's how you pass certain or all agenda items, right, that require action. The commission can only hear of it and discuss it together at a meeting. So we want to make
Yes.
sure.
To clarify, the staff that knows, right? A VIA knew we might get a
Right.
grant. The person working on the grant would know, but the commissioners cannot discuss and bring questions up outside of being in a meeting that was called to order, that was posted duly, that everybody knows is going to happen.
Correct.
So you can't discuss, the commissioners and mayor cannot discuss it, but obviously staff can work on it beforehand.
Exactly.
So that's the separation that would be staff is working on things. and it might have been brought to another board, but the commissioners did not have input at that point. They
Right.
don't have input until it is discussed live at 5:30 on Wednesdays every other week.
Because governance has to be in front of the public, in front of the community. And
Yes.
so that's
That's the
how,
difference.
right. Yep, absolutely. But so much goes to your point, all those FAA grants, the administration over at the airport aviation director, his staff, the airport board, like this is just a ton of work. And then by the time it comes to the commission, we just get to say, yes, thank you. We love it.
Wonderful.
Thank you. More money for the
Congratulations,
airport.
everybody.
Yes.
Yes. Definitely, consent agenda sometimes can get thick, right? It
Right.
can be like a lot, like time consuming. But then we get to another fun part of staff reports and other discussion items.
Right.
So staff report this time was STEC, which is the ambulance services that we have in the city of Harlingen. And I think we'd like to say they're doing wonderfully, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Stack. You're keeping us safe. They come
Yes.
quickly, they come efficiently. And I know from an events perspective, they're there and they are alert, right? And I always tell people when we're getting ready for an event, I say, if something happens, Stack already saw it. The
Right.
police already saw it. Like they're
Yes.
trained to watch out for that and they have our back. And so Steck's always there for us at all the events and they're there for us just in the city of Harlingen in general. So thank you, Steck. That's what they came and kind of gave an update last night.
Yeah, they gave an update and just all the great work that they're doing. And, we're very blessed here in the city of Harlingen. I know in other parts of the region, there's been issues with ambulance services and stuff. But these guys are experts in the field. The men and women that work at STEC are phenomenal. They do a lot of community outreach. They talked about this community paramedicine program that they have, and that's really neat because what they do is they go into the community and they are just providing additional services and checking on maybe our elderly in our community, preventing those ER visits, checking their blood work, checking their blood pressure, and sometimes
Wow.
having those conversations,
Yeah.
and just, hey, how are you doing? And I think that is really saving lives. And so we're very, very blessed to have them.
Well, thank you, Stack. And then you get into another kind of exciting part, public hearing. Do you
Yay,
think it's
public
as
hearing.
exciting as I do?
Well, yes, it is. They can go, they can
Longer,
be
yeah.
lengthy. And so last night we had a 4-hour meeting, probably because one of those public hearings, but it's essential. So public
Yes.
hearings are required. It's a legal mandate to our communities. If there's going to be a rezoning, if there's going to be a change, a special use permit, we call it SUP.
Yes.
If there's going to be a bar and grill, opening up and they require a special use permit, there has to be a public hearing and you have to give the community, the public, an opportunity to speak.
Yes. And so in the public hearing, can you have a back and forth or a no again?
So you can. So you see,
Oh,
here's the difference. Citizen communication, you can talk about items off the agenda. If you choose to talk about an item on the agenda, you may get a response. If you choose to just talk about whatever that's not on the agenda, then you don't get a response because you can't legally. Public hearings are for an item that's on the agenda. We have an action item after the public hearings on each of those public hearings. And so, yes, there can be a back and forth. And it just depends. Some people don't, they're super nervous. They'll come up and they'll have something prepared and they don't want any questions because it can be, daunting to
hmm
kind of just get up there and especially if it's not, that's not your thing. And so they just want to go in there, say their things and sit down. Others want to have a conversation. It just really depends on the person.
Well, I know that, there's SUPs granted, rezonings, all this kind of things happen. And that would be in the public hearing portion, but then you vote on it. And
Correct.
now you can also vote. And so you call a vote and then everybody votes. And then do they have to call their name and vote or how does that work?
So it's interesting that you brought that up because I know it was kind of a hot topic when we had that charter amendment letting the mayor have a vote, and I know there were it overwhelmingly passed, right? So it's like
Yes.
66% or something. So I'm really proud that the community wanted the mayor to have a voice on the commission, but I know that there was some people were skeptical, and some people said, well, we don't want, it's too much power. Don't give the mayor an opportunity to vote. Oh my goodness, but you really should have, I think that the mayor is unique on the commission in that I look at the entire city of Harlingen, and I want to be the voice for you. I want to be the voice for, people that are on the north side, on the south side, the east side. Well, it doesn't matter what district. I want what's best for the community. And I think I represent all, and I'm constantly in communication with the community. And I feel like I've got a good pulse on the needs of our community and what they want as a whole. Now, our commissioners, they're there to represent their district. District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5. And sometimes, they may get a little tunnel vision. And I think we saw last night at one of the public hearings that even if I vote one way, the commission has, there's 6 of us. And so I voted in favor of an item, and the majority voted against, and so it didn't pass. So, to think that, mayor having an opportunity is going to make significant change. I've said this from the very beginning. Unilaterally, we can do nothing. Collectively, we can do all things. But doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to bring it back and try to see what we can do. But you might want to talk to or just share with our viewers. I think it was the first item 9. And I don't have my agenda in front of me.
I do.
You do. I think it was A.
Okay.
The public hearing, if you want to just touch on that one.
So this one was a new subdivision, right? So this was district neighborhood services, right? So they're switching zonings from residential family to neighborhood service district, and it's 1.73 acres of land of Block 6, Section 297, Stewart Place re-subdivision, located on the southeast corner of Stewart Place and Brenneman Roads. So this was a hot topic last night.
Yes. And so that's real confusing, right? People
Yeah,
read that.
I feel like I said a lot of words.
What
like in
does
one
that
minute.
even mean? So just to kind of break it down, we have zoning here in our city, and most cities do, but then you have other cities that don't have zoning, and I don't know if you've ever driven through Houston, and I don't know if they've always had zoning, but you could be like
a church next to a tattoo artist,
yes.
next to a single family home,
right,
next to a school, and
it's
you're
wild.
Like, is the school safe here? Like, there's no crosswalk, there's no, what is happening?
Right.
And yes, zones keep us safe.
Yes.
They keep us looking cute.
Correct.
Not a mess, right?
Absolutely.
We're
so
looking
it's important. Cute. It's important. So we have zoning ordinances in place, and when people want to change those ordinances, you need a public hearing because it is the law of the city, right? An ordinance is a municipal law, and so if you want to change that, or you want an exception or variance or something, then you need to come to the commission and ask for that. And sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. Right now, the city is undergoing a comprehensive plan for the city, and we're looking at those ordinances because we have evolved so much over the years. And so now, I think one of the comments last night from a public comment from one of our constituents here in the city said at one time there was no expressway and there were houses where the expressway is, and so they needed to come and say, hey, we need to move these homes because we need to have an expressway. And of course there was probably people at that time that said, no, we don't want to do that, but where would we be today if we didn't have expressways to connect us throughout the region? But that topic, to go from basically from one zoning to another, and the zoning is to go from residential, which is a single family home neighborhood, to a neighborhood services district, right? And so what does that even mean? Neighborhood services is kind of give you an idea. During Christmas time, I don't know about you, but I watch like all the Hallmark movies, and I just obsessed, right? And they're always super cute and quaint, and you'll have like this cool, cute little neighborhood, and they can walk to the dry cleaners, pick up their dry cleaners, get a cup of coffee, and there's all these little shops that are really nice and cute. Think about like right here downtown. Hopefully one day, right, we're looking at these ordinances and there may be residents upstairs on all of these buildings, and they'll be able to walk downstairs, go down to the coffee shop, and meet their friend, to just talk about what have you, right? Those are all neighborhood services. So you're not going to have like a big Costco right next to your house, but you might have a nail salon, you might have, different little stores that are going to serve that neighborhood. And so we're seeing a lot of that now here and throughout the region. And so that's kind of the idea here. And so the change was to go from residential to neighborhood services. And it's important. I think it says on there, it's on Stewart Place Road. And what's the
Brenneman?
And Brenneman. So Brenneman is a residential, and Stewart Place is a major thoroughfare, right? You've got
Correct.
4 lanes. And so think about where the Cheddar's is, and Dos Olivos.
Yeah.
And all. So there's a lot going on. And so what they are trying to do is they want to have neighborhood services on Stewart Place, right across from where the fire department is. Do you know where that is on Stewart Place? So it would be a small area with offices, and then of course there's a neighborhood.
Just
towards
more
the back.
opportunities to like small neighborhood places. Obviously not a huge big box store or anything of that nature.
No.
But I do get where, right, you're saying the southeast corner, block 6,
Doesn't make
section
sense.
this, and you're like, what
Right.
kind of words are these, right? I obviously am like, do I turn right here? Like right now, right? That's my direction.
Right.
That's how I probably get around. But that's why we're going to talk about these a little bit more in detail.
Yeah.
So everybody can understand what we're trying to do. I think at the end of the day, changing this zoning is to better the community. That's
Right.
always the goal. The goal is always, how can we give more services to the community? How can I give you more opportunities? How can I bring more jobs? How can I do this? And by changing some zones, you do that. That's how you
Right.
accomplish it. Because you're right. Sometimes the zones were created 50 years ago, right? The city is a young gun at 100 and something years old. But things need to be updated
Correct.
and move with the times, get it together, and that's what you're doing. And well, you and the commissioners, right?
Well, we tried.
You're doing it together. Oh, did it?
It did it bad. Well, I will just say this one, even though, so the
No.
neighborhood services, there's a list of places that can open, but this particular developer wanted to just do office space.
Oh,
And so
okay.
that's what he wanted to do, and it's one of the many things, which I think would be nice. They already have a similar office space on the other side of Stewart called Stewart Suites.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you went to the ribbon cutting, it was really nice. And they've got professional offices in there. So you got like a title company, a broker, a builder, an architect, and all housed in one location. And so it'd be in 8 to 5, and that's it. So
Correct.
it would really benefit, I think, to the community, because it means more jobs, it means more opportunity.
Mhm.
And if you are a person wanting to build your dream home, you'd go there and it'd be all the services in one location. So
yeah.
it's a really good concept, good idea. And so unfortunately, the neighbors, there was about a handful of people that showed up that live on that area, and felt that they did not want to have that near their home because it would cause more traffic congestion. And so that was the issue. And then lighting, and that it would be disruptive. And so while I can understand the neighbors and what they want for their quality of life is to really have peace and quiet and not have anybody drive through that area. but we're also in the city limits, and that's what makes it a little difficult in District 5, which is where I live. I actually live off Stewart Place, so I'm
Hmm.
okay with it, but just everybody has a different, expectation.
Yeah.
And District 5 has a lot of rural areas, and so for a long time, people in District 5 have benefited from, hey, I've got an acre of land or 2 acres of land, and I don't have any neighbors. Well, I think we are growing at such a high rate that at some point everyone's going to have a neighbor, and
Yeah.
that's because everybody wants to live in the best city in the valley.
I agree. But I guess this is a representation of you discuss the item, we have the public come and speak on it, and then the mayor and commissioners make a decision.
Right.
Can they come back or it's dead?
Yes, they can.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we want to, we have worked so hard here in the city of Harlingen to be developer friendly, small business friendly, investor friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and we want my goal
Yeah.
and my mission and my motto, I would say, here in the city of Harlingen in all departments is, how do we get to yes? If it's
Yeah.
going to benefit the community, I want to know, how can we get to yes, and let's work together. And so I encourage developers to, really visit with the communities, understand the needs of the neighbors, sometimes having that little neighborhood meeting and saying, let me bring you into this vision. We did that on another property over by Dixieland Road, and the neighborhood there too was like, no, we don't want this. And then the developer said, hey, this is what's going to look like. This is what you're going to have. This is really going to improve your quality of life. And guess what? They were all on board, because what they had envisioned was different than what had been already presented, but they hadn't seen the visual. They had just heard, and they thought, oh no, we don't want that. But turns out that they did. So I'm hopeful that we can bring it back in that it would be something that the community would support.
And then there's another one. I mean, you went almost down the whole alphabet in consent agenda. But item, I think it's G here. No, F.
Hmm.
There's 393 single family lots coming in the proposed Tuscany Hills subdivision. So this one again has like a lot of those kind of like fancy words. But at the end of the day, 393 single family home lots are coming.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we need. We need housing areas, single family housing areas that are beautiful and
Yes.
that will attract families to live in Harlingen, that says we do have a nice subdivision here for you and brand new, right? Who doesn't want a brand new lot? I
Yes.
definitely, so this is called Tuscany Hills subdivision, and it's going to be in South Grimes Avenue, west of Bob Euchre Road.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So it's great. We got almost nearly 400 single family lots. That means 400 more families can come to our community and take advantage of all the great stuff that's happening here in Harlingen. And for those that, don't attend the commission meetings regularly, I'd encourage them to go back and look at old, past meetings, or look at the agendas. There's explosive growth in the
Yeah.
city of Harlingen, subdivisions popping up everywhere, all around town. And I think it's fantastic. And as soon as they're built, they're sold. Like
It's done.
yes.
Like gone, gone, gone. That's awesome. And so all these type of items are in consent.
Mhm.
And then I kind of want to touch on J, which is the consideration and possible action to award a contract to Go Underground LLC pursuant to bid number 2025-06 for the 5th and 7th storm sewer improvements. So we award bids in the consent, in this part of the agenda,
Mhm.
where we say, yes, you're going to start the project. And as soon as this says yes, they get the call and they're done. They're working.
So I want to go just kind of rewind just a little bit. So the consent agenda is things that have already,
Oh, yes.
those are routine business. And I know it can be super confusing, which is why I'm so glad that you're
Yes.
here. So that way
We're walking through
I'm
it.
sure that someone else is looking at it and saying, okay, where am I on this agenda?
Mhm.
But the consent agenda is routine business,
Yes.
unanimously approved. We've already heard of it. And this is second reading. We moved on. Then we went through the public hearings. We had very healthy debate and most passed, not all, but that's what public hearings are for.
Correct.
Then we move into the ordinance section, which are sometimes companions to the public hearings, because now we're going to vote on the item, and then some items don't have public hearings, and those are going to be on the action items as well, which are, it's, an ordinance. So at this point, that item, like Tuscany Hills, is the first reading. So we get the presentation from Parks. We get a packet that is uploaded to the city website where people can look at all of the attachments. It goes to the Planning and Zoning Board, and they review it. And so it's already gone through all the work, and then it comes to us. And so Tuscany, we approve that subdivision. So they got the green light. They get to go, and it'll be on consent agenda next meeting.
time.
And since it unanimously passed, we will just do the second reading in consent. And now what you've hopped on over to is an item that did not require a public hearing, but it was the acceptance it is the providing
The awarded the contract.
Yes. So awarding the contract, what we do is we have city staff, they get bids and they provide these proposals to our community, and they can respond. And if they can provide the services, then our staff will rank them and say, this is our recommendation. Then it comes to us for acceptance. What's really cool about that is that it is for a project, and the funding that we got, it's a drainage project. The funding that we got was we got about $1.5 million from Congressman Gonzalez, that gave us an earmark specifically for drainage. And this is, things take time. We had announced that probably about a year and a half ago, and now we've got the funding. It's in the bank, and now we've awarded the contract, and we can move forward with those drainage improvements.
Oh, that's wonderful. So congratulations. And can't wait to see those improvements. Yeah, you guys go through a lot. There's a
Yes.
lot of words. There's a lot. And we're going to be breaking them down for the public to understand. Even me, who works here, sometimes gets confused. And it's just really easy for that to happen, to misconstrue what's happening, and to misconstrue, wait, did you vote? Did you not vote? Why can I talk? Why can I not talk? And maybe the more we get into it, the more it will be comfortable for the public, and they'll be able to participate more. And I think that, like I said, at the end of the day, we want more community involvement. We want more understanding of city business and why things happen the way they happen.
Right.
Why do we meet at 5:30, or why do we, because people work, right? So we meet at 5:30. There's certain things, and I think you can teach me a lot, and you can teach the public a lot. And the more involvement, just the more we'll grow, and the better I think we'll all be. And so it's exciting, because this is really laying the groundwork for Harlingen and our path forward and more growth. And you can get a lot of information from this little packet here, but we're still not done. Like,
know.
that's the
That's
crazy
crazy.
part about it. Like, we've talked about consent agenda, we've talked about consideration and possible action on items, and you're still 9:00 at night. You're still not done.
Right.
So then you go into executive session.
Yes.
Executive session, fill us in on that. I've never been a part of executive session. It's not on camera. It's behind closed doors for a reason.
Right.
Right. Tell us.
So executive session is items that are not, we do not discuss in front of the public for specific reasons, and
Yeah.
those are outlined by TOMA, which is what governs all of our hearings. And so if it is going to be personnel matters, we're going to talk about personnel, then that will be obviously behind closed doors, because it's a private matter. But you will see on the agenda who it is that we are talking about, or what position we're trying to fill. If it is because the commission have specific individuals like city attorney, chief of police. We also have the city manager. And so when we're doing those evaluations, those will be done in executive session, and then we'll take action in the public. Then we have items that are confidential because it's attorney-client privilege, if there's any kind of litigation, or we are in the process of negotiating a contract, things that need to remain confidential because we're in that business phase. But what we had last night, and there was a slew of them, are potential businesses and, that so coming into our community, it takes a lot of work. We have the EDC, and hopefully we can get them on here at some point. They're working every single day to bring in manufacturing, to bring in retail, to just grow our community, to bring in more jobs, to retain jobs. And so they do all this, work day in and day out, and then they come brief the city commission on updates. And so if you maybe want to share with the listeners and our viewers some of the items that are listed on there. Not all of the names, but they've got these clues, if you will, on projects that we've discussed.
So there's clues here. And I think it's important to remember that the Harlingen EDC is working to bring a business in, right? If you're already here, they can't really give you monies that are earmarked for attracting business, right? So we don't want to divulge information that could potentially ruin a deal, right? So we're not going to spill the beans. We're going to, hey, let's keep it under wraps until it's officially coming. And again, until the EDC really announces it, then it's set in stone. So we have to keep that in mind. So there's one called Project Fit, which should be, I know.
I can't tell you.
Is it health food?
I have to kill you.
Coming in. Project DC, Project Turbine, Project Tyler, Project Emerald Green.
So I will tell you that EDC, I think Beverly is the one that comes up with these names, and she's super clever.
I love that.
And then once, the business is announced, you're like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Like the project nickname matches?
Yes.
Oh, Bev,
just
tell
for
us.
example, we had walk-ons when it was coming into Harlingen. It was Project Breeze because of Drew Brees. But so your average person may have not known that, but maybe there were some, some guys that were like, oh my goodness,
we know he has restaurants.
Yeah. And so if I don't know, your kids, do they watch Blue's Clues? Maybe they're good at it. I don't know.
Maybe millennials who used to watch Blue's Clues will get this now.
Yeah, I'm old, so my kids don't watch any of those cartoons. But anyhow, it's
we can figure. You could, if you tried really hard, I'm sure you could figure it out.
I think, or you could at least be excited to think that maybe
I'm excited that there's 8 potential projects coming to the city of Harlingen. And what I want to know is, I want to see if EDC will come on here and announce it, or you'll give us an inside scoop. So people have to watch these episodes every Thursday or Friday to get all the information, and we're going to tell you the cheese first.
Yes. And, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes, there'll be chatter around town, or there'll be stuff online that says, hey, this is coming. And I will tell you, I won't give you specifics, but there has been deals in other communities, and because they released the information, businesses didn't go. And so we have to sign NDAs. We cannot release information until we get the green light. And so sometimes people jump the gun, but we can't do that. But we're going to work really hard to ensure as soon as we get the green light from the businesses.
We want to tell you as much as they do.
Yeah, of course. But we definitely, we want to, as soon as things are going to be opening, we're going to be dropping them here, and hopefully they'll be here first.
Yes.
They'll be official, I will say, here first. But there's definitely a lot happening, from retail to manufacturing to just all things that the community can benefit from. And I'm super excited. And we were probably in executive session for over an hour, because it's just so much to go over. But one thing that I can share from executive session, which was incredible, and it was the highlight of the night, was that we discussed our chief of police, and that was on executive session. And last night, Chief Fred Alviad was appointed chief of police.
Congratulations, Chief. That is wonderful news.
Yes.
He has been working for the city of Harlingen 20 years, 30
I
years.
think like 30, like going on 30 years, maybe 28 years, something like that.
That is so impressive. That is a wonderful feat for him. Congratulations. The Harlingen Police Department is going to be doing great under his command, and
Yes.
congratulations to him. So that's awesome. Again, so that's personnel news that has to be behind closed doors. At the end of the day,
Right.
he's an employee. That's why it has to be behind closed doors.
Yes. And a lot of work went into this. We put the commission authorized a committee. And so you had the district attorney's
Oh.
office, you had a defense attorney, you had a human rights attorney, you had city manager. So you had like people that are very knowledgeable come together. They had, I think, more than a dozen applicants. So it was very competitive, and they went through the interview process. And so the way that it works is that this committee made a recommendation. The recommendation comes from city manager, and then the commission has the opportunity to adopt, or
Oh.
we can say we want to interview the top two ourselves. But I think that the commission unanimously accepted the recommendation from Gabe, our city manager, because, you know, I think Chief Albiad has been the interim for maybe 60 days or so, maybe a little bit more. And he's been doing such a wonderful job. And he is just loved by the entire community and just has a wealth of experience and definitely the respect of his department. So Harlingen is in good hands.
Well, on that note, you kind of wrapped up the evening, and we're going to wrap up ourselves. And just remember, the city commission and the mayor meet every other Wednesday at 5:30 at City Hall at 5:30
Correct.
p.m. in the evening. And it's by law, you have to have a meeting a month.
Yes.
And this agenda is posted beforehand, so people have plenty of time to check it out and to see,
Absolutely.
right? Is there anything else you want to tell the public, the community about the agenda, about anything fun from last night?
Well, we just want to remind our viewers and our listeners that this was kind of a 101 of the commission meeting. So
Yeah.
those of you that are highly engaged, because there's a lot that are here in our community that go to commission meetings, that know how everything works, and we are super excited that they participate in our community. This was a 101. So when we are here next time talking about commission, we're going to go through it a little bit faster and give them the highlights. And so we don't want them to think like, gosh, it's going to take this long to give us the information next time. But we wanted
Long
to.
meeting means long recap.
Yeah.
No, means we want to give you guys the recap.
Yes.
The quick, this is what happened. This is how we voted. Pass, didn't pass. Somebody got hired. I don't want to talk about any fight. That might not be that fun. But yes, it's not going to be as in detail. This is 101 next time. And again, if anybody has questions, anybody wants a little more in-depth response from us, they can email us at letstalkharlingen@harlingentx.gov.
Right.
And they can give all that, all those questions there. And that gives us a chance to, digest the information, give everybody the right answers back. So they can email us. They can talk to us at the Coffee with the Mayor, right? So
Yes.
June 25th, 8
Next
a.m.
week. One more plug.
One more. I just want everybody to go.
Yes.
Because you need to see the community center. You got to talk with the mayor, and you got to drink your coffee. So go on June 25th.
Yes, it is exciting. So we will see them there. And
Yes.
I think just before we wrap up, we want everybody to know we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. You can't make the commission meeting. We are going to be here. Cassandra and I are going to walk you through the meeting quickly, and we're going to give you all the good details that you need. And don't worry if you missed it, because we are going to be like your Cliff Notes almost, right? I'm
Cliff's Notes.
aging myself. I said Blue's Clues, Cliff Notes. I'm just going to stop talking. I think we're good.
I think that we've gone through the meeting. And again, like Mayor said, we're going to talk to you all the time. You're really going to get to know us. Follow us, like us, and send us an email. We want to talk to you. We'll see you next time.
That's it for this episode of Let's Talk Harlingen.
If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe on our YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We've got more conversations coming your way.
Let's talk again soon, Harlingen.